good evening, morning, night, whatever. It is Friday, 3:33 a.m. What's going on? Let me turn this heat off. It's already hot in here. So, today, I watched a documentary about the Turpin family. The Turpin family, I believe, was out of California, and it was a family of 15. A mother and a father, and 13 children. And on January 14th of 2018, a 17-year-old girl broke out of the home and called police with a deactivated cell phone. And she called the police and said, "I'm 17 years old and I've run away from my family and I need help because my sisters are tied up, are chained to the bed." And so the police show up and they're asking her all these questions. Well, actually, as she's on the phone, she asked for the address. The 911 dispatch operator asked for the address, and she had a envelope that she was able to rattle off an address, and she didn't know how to read an address. She rattled off a couple of numbers and then tried to sound out a word that you couldn't really make out what it was. Could have been a few different words. And then she gave a whole bunch more numbers, and the 911 dispatcher was like, "That's not the one." She goes, "Okay, let me try again." And then she just gave her more numbers, and the dispatcher is trying to figure out where she is, and the dispatcher doesn't want to let her off the phone because it's a deactivated cell phone. All you can do is make an outgoing call. She can't call her back if she drops the call. And so she asked her where she is, and she's just able to say, I think it was Alameda, California. That's all she could identify. And she said, "Well, what street are you on?" And she's like, "I don't know." She said, "Is there a street sign around you?" And she goes, "I don't know." She said, "Are you at an intersection?" And she said, "What's an intersection?" And she said, "Are you at a cross street?" And she's like, "I don't know." She said, "Is there a pole with signs at the top?" And she says, she doesn't know. And says, "Oh, there's a stop sign." She goes and she sits at the stop sign. The police officer tells her to sit there and wait for the cop. And the cop is 14 minutes away. And this whole time, she's terrified that her parents are going to wake up and come and find her. The cop shows up. She hangs up with the dispatcher, and she starts to talk to the cop. And you could tell by the way she's talking, it's weird. She said, "Oh, my sisters are chained up because they stole food from mother. They stole mother's food." The cop asked her, what's medicine? And she said, "What's medicine?" The cop said, "Are you on any medication?" She said, "What's medicine?" And he said, "Pills. Do you take pills?" And she goes, "What's pills?" And then she corrects and she goes, I think I took a pill a few years ago." So the cops get all this information from her, and she ends up showing them pictures, and they go home. They go back to her house, and they knock on the door. And because of the accusations that are being made, the cops don't need a warrant. They just walk in the house to do a welfare check. And they find exactly what she said they were going to find. And they end up arresting the parents. And they got sentenced to 25 years. They got sentenced 25 years to life. Because they had been literally abusing children. 13 children. Well, the oldest one was 29, and she was not a well-adjusted girl. They range from, I think, the age of 29 to 2, I think. I could be wrong about the youngest. Well, like, as I was watching this, man, like, my big ass was choking up. And, it was hard to watch. So people across the United States had sent them like $600,000. The state had put it in trust, and they could not get a hold of it. It took ABC doing another documentary and putting the county on blast for them to get their money. They were put in foster care, and I don't think together. The older children, I think they were ages 22, 23, 25, 29, I think, were the ages. It was incredibly sad. Could you imagine never being outside? She had never had a conversation with a stranger, so the conversation with the cop was, she kept on apologizing for the way she spoke or speaking too much, and you could see the cop trying to adjust the way he was talking because the communication skills were lacking just from lack of interaction with other people. And their parents were Pentecostal, and they thought they were doing their children a service by keeping them sheltered and not in school and from doctor's appointments. And I think she said that they had bathed once a year. Oh, man. I wish I could have just like reached out and hugged her and give her some strength. When I see stuff like that, like, it sounds corny and stupid, but like, I ache to just show people love and affection when they go through that kind of stuff. I couldn't imagine just being thrust into the world that we have now without growing up into it. Oh my God. Trying to figure out social media and having adult relationships. And God bless them if they got to go to work. How do you go to work without having how do you keep a job? How do they not have the most terrible PTSD that keeps just crippling anxiety, and just how do they have adult relationships? It'd take years of counseling and therapy. Maybe I just think they're fragile and they're not. I really hope that they were just able to hit the ground running and just take off and just never look back and just be rock stars. and just badasses. And so then I watch that, and I start to it sounds selfish, but I watch stuff like that to give me a dose of somebody else's reality, to slap myself in the face and go, shut up, you big pansy, stop whining. So many people have it so much worse. I am so blessed. How dare you whine about being a blessed man when there are people out there in situations like that. Anyways, adios.